This is RCR Goes to Toronto. This is not a journal. This is not something I pre-wrote. This is us just watching the footage that we filmed while in Toronto. I haven't been in Toronto, gosh, over 10 years at least. So, this begins at Steam Whistle Brewing, which is right across from the CN Tower. I didn't even plan to be here, but I got an email from Roy in the sales department that said, hey, a bunch of us are fans, come on over. So we went over, and suddenly I'm in the back of the lot in a Ford Econoline van. And the surprise with this van from the 60s is that it has a modular V8 in it, you know, the 4.6 modular. I'm not sure if it was a 2-valve or a 3-valve. My guess is that it's 2, because any sort of 3-valve just goes into performance things, and you can, all the LS folks can make their jokes about 3-valve modulars. So I'm pretty sure this is a 2-valve. It goes really, really well, and this van can easily become not safe. Because these vans originally, I think, had the 170 cubic inch straight 6, which made maybe 90 horsepower. And then later on you had the Power Master 200, which I don't know if maybe that made 100. I don't know. Or maybe if you didn't even get more horsepower out of that, it may have only gotten you more torque. But a 4.6 modular can make, depending on the state of mild tune, can make anywhere from 215 horsepower to 250. Which is way, way, way too much for this frame. It's perfectly fine if you just roll around in it. But this engine overpowers the brakes immediately. I'll get to a burnout here in a second. There's a dog here. Oh, and I start talking to the dog. Hold on.
Hey, doggo. Hi, dog. Hi, dog. Hi, dog. Hi, dog.
Anyway, we're getting. I just asked Roy, can I just torque load this thing? And he says, do whatever you want. And I'm like, all right. Goes pretty good, huh? I really, like, at the end of just this run from one end of the loading dock to the other, I wanted to come back to Roy and say, hey, Roy, how much do they want for this thing? It's a whole lot of fun. And also using the supposedly lesser V8 of all the V8s, you know, it goes like Coyote motor, 5.0, and then 4.6. It was neat to see the 4.6 being used in a fun application. Okay, this is a bunch of footage of lights going up and a whole bunch of bugs flying around them. This is from the real reason why we were in Canada for a week. We have a special project, which I can't really talk about, and I may not talk about for a year. But it's very, very high production value. It is automotive based. And I learned a lot about real filmmaking, even though that, sorry, I'm about to eat bone marrow. Oh, we're back at Steam Whistle Brewing. They gave me lunch, and I go through a range of emotions here, eating bone marrow on a cracker. I'm not really acting here. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but there is a lot of strange new flavors going on in my mouth right now. And the texture was odd, but I guess there was enough salt and stuff that, yeah, it's pretty good. Thank you so much for the straight pipes, for showing up to our Toronto car meet in Mississauga. People tell me I should really say Toronto. Tim Hortons, finally. Yes. Oh, Thunderbird. We're going to go through all this footage here. Thank you so much for the straight pipes for showing up. Because, I'm an introvert and, oh my God, a lot of people. And thank you to the people who let me ride their motorcycles. Like, I said yes twice. There's me riding this Kawasaki, I think it was a KLR 250. And this was my moment to put on a helmet and then be anonymous for a little bit because... Thank you so much for everybody showing up, and I felt bad that I couldn't talk to everybody here, but it feels kind of overwhelming sometimes. I don't know if we as humans are meant to deal with this type of attention. Maybe politicians like it, but not me. That's not to say that I don't like meeting people. It's just strange to do it on such a large forum. And you look up and there's 30 people watching you. And I'm like, So, you see, I'm really smiling here. Like, hey, I get to go off on a motorcycle just for a little bit. Yeah, people filming me, people looking at me. And I know, like, the entire reason that you're allowed to have this really fun job is because people like watching it. But it feels weird because, I live way out in the mountains and I don't really meet people. And then when we go to these car meets, when we go to cities, I get an idea of how big regular car reviews really is. Man, I like motorcycles. You can be so anonymous on them. Put the helmet on. Most Miatas now have, hey, there's the dog that got really close to my crotch. And I was like, hey, is that a pit bull or something else? Is it a boxer? Freaking huge jaw, and it goes right for your junk. And I'm like, oh, man. GTO. Gosh, I don't remember much about that GTO. Oh, there's the Raptor that belongs to Jacob from the Straight Pipes. I think Raptors are neat as long as you don't put exhaust on them, because Bruce Hen has a Raptor and it's really cool, but it drones with Flowmasters on it. And then Jacob said he was gonna. The guy to the right is Andre. He helped out during our special car shoot and the sort of special project we can't talk about, but it's going to be cool. A DeLorean showed up to the meet, complete with a hoverboard inside. There's Jacob again. From the Straight Pipes. They took so much heat off of us. We had to leave promptly at 9 p.m. when we said we were going to leave, but the Straight Pipes stayed around a lot longer. And there were some nice moments, like one or two moments where if I stood sort of near the Straight Pipes, people talked to them and not me, and I kind of like that a little bit better. The dude with the Baja was one of the first people to show up to the meet. I don't know if I got a chance to talk to him, but I like Bajas. That was the Volkswagen Cabriolet. That car was super, super clean on the inside. Look at those seats. Super clean on the inside. Dash 2, no cracks. None of that weird slime that develops on 80s plastic. This is me trying to part the seas for a Marauder. That Marauder we saw at it has the license plate Final Boss. That Marauder we saw at a Petro-Canada the very first night we rolled into Toronto. And I kind of wanted to say, like, hey, nice car. I didn't know he was a fan. And then later on I posted an Instagram and he was like, holy crap, that's me. This was a Chrysler Cordoba. I think this was excuse me for yawning. This was my favorite car at the car meet because so much of, like, the front clip of that car doesn't have anything underneath it. The radiator is back behind the hood seam there. There's nothing in the front of that car. Oh, there's a turbo Thunderbird. That was also one of the first cars that showed up. Okay, this is a Lada with knobby tires on it. And people were having a contest to see who could hand crank that thing. I really wanted to drive it because Eastern European cars are becoming very hipster and hip. Can't really be hipster because owning a car requires effort, and the whole idea of hipsterism is that I wasn't even trying. Whereas if you own classic cars, particularly ones that were never sold in this market, you have to try. Yeah, even the straight pipe guys, they showed up right away and sort of placed themselves right directly in my line of fire, which I thank them for. Yuri bought that Prowler, man. Bought a Prowler. I have my own opinions. I get it. It's a goofy car, and it is very, very striking. And probably as time goes on, it will only become more so. That's a DeLorean again. The license plate said Gigawatt. I'm balking a little bit here. I'm not sure which gear shifter this was. That's a cool wheel. That wheel looks like it makes your Mustang go fast. Okay. Here's the Cordoba again. The guy had almost all the paperwork. He even had a shirt with an outline of like a cell shaded version of a Cordoba on it that just said rich Corinthian leather. I like that. This was a little Mazda that I don't know if I found the owner or not. I wanted to know more about it. It was one of the first cars that showed up. We got there, even though the meet didn't start till 8, we got there at 7. I like showing up early because then I can have real conversations with people before the crowd really gets there. There's the hoverboard again. Before my interactions with people stop becoming conversations and all I really say are, sure, no problem, I'll sign it, and sure, you can have a picture. Because that like goes on like, I've noticed with meets, that just goes on for like a straight hour. Not that I don't mind pictures, it's just, I like being part of this guy was on the Lemons rally that we went on with our Yugo. He was the guy who dressed as Barf. There's Nick. Thank you, Nick, for being there, for helping. I did a car meet once all by myself. That was 2 Radwoods ago, and all I did was take pictures the whole time, or be in pictures with people the whole time. It's not to say I don't mind it. It's just it's a very odd way of interacting with people, and I wonder how the straight pipes do it. They have different personalities than me. My favorite thing is when I'm with a group of people and I'm not the center of attention and I don't have to carry the conversation. I can just chime in from time to time. I really like hanging back. What engine was this? It's an overhead cam. It's a mechanical throttle. It's a 4-cylinder. Plastic intake, which puts it somewhere. Oh, was that the Turbo Thunderbird? Or is that something else? What induction am I looking at right there? I don't know what that shirt means. Something. Is it a Canadian space program? It kind of looks like NASA. And there's Nick with him. Nick taking pictures of a Volkswagen Beetle. I have no idea what this was. This is footage when Ivan the filmmaker was hanging out with Nick, and there's some sort of, I guess, a flight stick being used as a gear shifter. I think Tony Airlines would like this. I wonder if that thumb switch is functional. There's the Cordoba again. Nice. This was, I think, a Cadillac Coupe de Ville. We'll see as it backs up. 2 doors, or yep, I don't see a door happening yet. Yep, 2-door. Impossible to get in and out of those things. If you're parked next to anyone, you have to park well far away. There's the Prowler again. Yes, as it ages, it's going to become more and more space age. I wish I could say more about that engine that was in there. Sorry, Yuri. It is cool. I think this is when they were just arriving. Sorry, these clips are all out of order. There's me on the KLR 250 again. I stalled that thing a bunch. And stalling a bike that's kickstart only is all the more embarrassing. You're like, gotta put it in neutral. Gotta kick it over. And this one didn't have a compression release. I mean, I guess you really don't need it for a 250. But I always like being able to find top dead center. On the other hand, the piston is so small, you almost accidentally push your way right through top dead center, being unable to find it. People were telling me, oh, there's a Tim Hortons on a tow hitch. Oh, there's the Lemons Rally trophy again from the guy who dressed up as Barf. I'm sorry, I didn't even... Of course, the only other time I met that guy, he was in costume. So, I wonder what the theme is with German cars of only having one fog light. It's just a style, I suppose. Here's a group picture. Whole bunch of people. Are they flashing east side? I don't know. Maybe I guess that's what you just do in pictures now. I'm old. Selfies with Nick. Everyone was cool. No Mustangs crashed into anything. There's that Marauder again. And those aftermarket headlight clusters, not sure. Every time I see him, I think about getting one, but then nope, I already have a 4-door V8 car. I don't need another one. I kind of wish I wore my contacts because I'm self-conscious about those thin wireframe glasses I wear. I'm even wearing them right now. Can't even feel them that you're on your face. You don't really have peripheral vision, but on the other hand, I can wear them underneath a motorcycle helmet, and they don't pinch or anything because they're so small. They can fit under a full-face one as well. There's a turbo coupe again. Ivan was filming the sky. We really had a wonderful night there, out there in Mississauga. Low humidity, no wind. It was really nice. Man, there were a lot of people there. The Rieta that was at my car meet showed up here. There's an NC Miata. There's a WRX, some guy with a Mario shirt. FRS, with an exit sign propping up the hood. There's that little Mazda again, not sure. And you can tell I'm recording this at my computer. You may hear some stuff going on in the background. Town driving by. Thank you so much for buying the RCR hat. There'll be a new store in the future soon. I just have to set it up. Prime Driven will help with that. There was someone at the car meet with a Prime Driven shirt on. The 6IS, I don't know how Toronto is abbreviated as the 6. I suppose a simple Google search will fix that. There's the Cordoba again. It's hard not to look at it. It's so imposing. And it's trying to be a little bit of Mercedes, and it isn't. There's the Cabriolet again. Here's me signing things. Same guy as before. Man, that guy has great hair. Here I am on somebody else's phone, and I can't remember the situation here. I guess somebody wanted to show me something on their phone, and I'm looking at it. See, there's like 3 levels deep of people looking at me. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And then I'd look over and then I'd see the straight pipes and I'm like, wow, they're so calm and collected as they do this. It's amazing. Well, thank you so much. That was all the footage, all the extra footage we have from RCR Toronto. Thank you to everybody who showed up. And I guess the next time we go to Canada, we got to go to some other part. Maybe Vancouver. Who knows? Have a good week. Regular reviews start again next Monday.